Arnold Schwarzenegger worked with famous people, helped directors become well-known, and helped actors become superstars. But secretly, Arnold kept a list in his mind. 6 names. 6 people who hurt him or let him down, and these moments changed everything between them. One person was someone Arnold looked up to as a hero. Another person was the guy who made Arnold super famous. And one person actually called Arnold greedy to his face. What happened between Arnold and these people will really surprise you. Especially number 2 on the list, James Cameron. He's the smart movie director who turned against the person he helped create. In first place is the most shocking, named James Cameron. This is the man who built Arnold's whole movie career. He's the director who took a bodybuilder and turned him into the Terminator, one of the biggest action heroes ever. But Cameron ended up being the one person Arnold could barely stand being near. It got really bad when they worked together on a movie called True Lies back in 1994. Cameron was such a perfectionist, meaning he wanted everything to be absolutely perfect, that even Arnold couldn't deal with it anymore. The movie True Lies was absolutely huge and crazy. There were big explosions everywhere, helicopters flying around, and jet planes. They spent many months just filming the movie. But what nobody watching the movie could see was all the messy drama and problems happening behind the camera. While they were making it, Cameron would yell out reset and make them do scenes over again, even after they had already done 15 perfect takes that looked great. Every time this happened, Arnold's jaw would get tight and you could see he was getting really mad inside. One person who worked on the technical stuff for the movie remembered actually seeing Arnold angrily rip off his costume jacket and heard him quietly say under his breath, "He's lost it." He meant that Cameron was going too far and acting crazy. Arnold wasn't just annoyed, he was truly angry deep down. You see, Arnold believed strongly in discipline and doing things the right way. He thought you should do one take of a scene and do it perfectly the first time. But Cameron believed in total control over everything. He wanted to film one scene over and over and over until everyone was completely exhausted and couldn't do it anymore. The way they liked to work was completely different, and they crashed together like 2 pieces of steel banging into each other at one moment during filming. Arnold reportedly got so frustrated that he actually walked completely off the movie set for a whole hour. He told the movie producers if he wants a machine that just does what he says, then he should go buy a robot instead. When Arnold did this, the whole atmosphere on set got cold and tense. Everyone felt uncomfortable. But here's the thing. Cameron didn't run after Arnold to apologize or try to make things better. He just calmly rewrote the scene they were working on and kept right on filming like nothing happened. That single moment, when Arnold walked away and Cameron didn't care, ended their friendship more powerfully than any big argument or fight ever could have. When the movie finally came out and became a huge hit that made tons of money, both Arnold and Cameron smiled for all the cameras and photographers, but anyone paying attention could see the distance between them. You could tell they weren't really friends anymore after that movie. Arnold completely stopped visiting Cameron's movie sets. And Cameron, in his interviews with reporters, started talking about and praising actors who surrender completely to a director's instructions. Everyone in Hollywood knew exactly who Cameron was really talking about. He meant Arnold. Fans of the movie kept begging and asking for a sequel called True Lies 2. Cameron even had ideas and plans for it in his head. But Arnold never replied to any messages about it. He just ignored it completely. Years and years later, when someone asked Arnold if he would ever work together with Cameron again on another movie, Arnold said with that famous half-smile of his, "Depends on how long he wants to spend shooting just one scene." The whole room full of people laughed out loud when he said that. But if you looked closely at Arnold's eyes, they weren't laughing at all. They were serious and cold, so that's how it happened. The world's greatest movie director and Hollywood's strongest, most muscular man broke apart and stopped being friends. Why? Because they were actually too much alike. Both wanted total control. Both refused to back down. Bruce Willis. They went from being brothers who fought side by side to silent enemies who wouldn't even talk. Back in the early 1990s, Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger looked like they couldn't be stopped. They were 2 of Hollywood's absolute biggest action movie stars. They were two friends who walked down red carpets together at fancy events, drank champagne, and made toasts together. And they even built a business empire together with another huge star. Sylvester Stallone. They started a restaurant chain called Planet Hollywood. It was supposed to be a symbol showing that movie legends could be brothers and friends. But behind all the camera flashes and handshakes for the public, serious tension was building up between them like a storm, getting ready to hit. Arnold once said privately to people close to him, "Some actors lift up the whole scene and make it better. Other actors just lift their voice louder." It wasn't meant as a joke. It was a quiet attack aimed straight at Willis. He meant that Willis just yelled instead of actually acting well. Their problem with each other wasn't about talent or skill. Both were talented. It was about discipline and how they worked. Arnold was like a military soldier, super precise about everything. He woke up early every morning, followed strict routines, and had zero excuses for being lazy. Bruce was the complete opposite. He was chaos wrapped up in charm. He liked to improvise and make things up as he went. He was defiant and didn't follow rules. Sometimes he even showed up late to set. When a movie called The Expendables 3 came along, Arnold expected it would be fun and they'd work together with camaraderie like old friends. Instead, got hit with headlines in the news saying that Bruce had demanded to be paid $4 million for just 4 days of work. That's $1 million per day. The deal for Bruce to be in the movie collapsed and fell apart overnight. Arnold's reaction was short, direct, and deadly. He went on Twitter and posted just one single word: greedy. That one word, that single jab, split their friendship completely in half. It was over. Stallone tried really hard to reconcile them and bring them back together as friends, but the damage was permanent. It couldn't be fixed. On the movie set, Arnold replaced Bruce's role without even hesitating or thinking twice about it. Crew members who worked on the film later recalled and said that the mood and atmosphere instantly got lighter and happier as soon as Bruce was gone. In interviews afterward, when reporters asked Arnold if he missed working with Willis, Arnold just smiled that famous smile and answered calmly, "Not everyone is built for teamwork." He didn't say anything more to explain. He didn't have to say more. Everyone understood what he meant. The silence between the two of them grew colder and colder as time went on. Even at special Planet Hollywood anniversary parties and celebrations, Bruce's absence, the fact that he wasn't there, said more than any words could say. Arnold just moved forward with his life. He focused on getting results, not on trying to fix the friendship. When someone stops showing up, so does my interest. Arnold once told reporters who asked him about it. What had begun as a friendship built on fame and being famous together ended as a rivalry sealed shut by pride. Both men were too proud to apologize. Richard Gere, the rival who never even knew what hit him. You're not going to believe who takes third place on Arnold's hate list. It's Richard Gere. Yeah, that Richard Gere. The calm, smooth, charming man from the romantic movie Pretty Woman. This super nice-seeming guy once clashed so hard with the Terminator that the fallout and bad feelings lasted for decades, for many. Many years their story didn't begin in Hollywood with movies and fame. It actually started way before either of them became famous stars. Back in the late 1970s, both men were hungry for success, young and kind of reckless. Gere was the confident pretty boy with a sharp, quick tongue who always had something clever to say. Arnold was the newcomer from Austria, who was built like a huge tank. But he was still trying to prove himself to everyone. They first crossed paths and met each other at a celebrity charity soccer game in LA. Gere was joking around in front of other people and said something like, "Careful, Arnold. You might pop a vein trying to impress the crowd." He was making fun of how muscular Arnold was. But Arnold didn't laugh at all. He shot right back and said, "Better to pop a vein than to sit around just posing and looking pretty." The whole crowd laughed, but they were laughing at Gere, not with him. That moment right there set the tone for everything bad that followed between them. A few weeks later, they met again, this time at a martial arts training studio. Gere arrived late to the training session. He started cracking jokes about fake muscles, trying to make fun of bodybuilders like Arnold. Arnold ignored him and didn't say anything back, at least until Gere stepped too close to him physically. Then suddenly there was one shove, one grab, and the next thing you know, the whole room of people had to split them apart to stop a real fight. Gere stormed out of the studio, and his face was red with anger and embarrassment. He promised he would never train at that studio again, but it didn't end there. The problems kept going. A few years later, both men were trying to get roles in a movie called The Lords of Flatbush. Gere got the part first, but then he had constant fights on the movie set. He especially fought with Sylvester Stallone, who happened to be Arnold's good friend. Eventually, Gere got fired from the movie because he was causing so many problems, Stallone said later on. Gere was impossible to work with. He thought he was royalty, like a king who everyone should bow down to. When Arnold heard Stallone say that, people say Arnold smirked, which means he smiled in a satisfied, knowing way, and said, "I told you so." A bad attitude breaks faster than bones do. Since that time, Gere avoids going to events that Arnold attends. And Arnold never mentions Gere's name. It's like he doesn't exist. Jean-Claude Van Damme, the rival Arnold, refused to recognize. Coming in at number 4 is the man the media and entertainment news swore would be the next Arnold. His name is Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that prediction. That idea that he'd replace Arnold is exactly where the problem started. Hollywood tried to crown a new action king to take Arnold's place, but Arnold wasn't ready to hand over his throne to anyone. Behind their polite smiles at events, the tension between them was as thick as smoke at a gun shooting range. Their rivalry began quietly in the late 1980s when both of them were dominating, meaning they ruled the VHS shelves at video stores. This was back when people rented movies on videotapes to watch at home. Van Damme was the fresh, flashy martial artist who did cool kicks and splits. Meanwhile, Arnold was the battle-tested veteran who had already proven himself many times. At first, Arnold just laughed it off and didn't take Van Damme seriously. But then Van Damme started calling himself the real deal in interviews with magazines and TV shows. That statement hit Arnold's nerve. It bothered him. Things almost got physical, meaning they almost fought with their fists on the set of the movie Predator. Van Damme had been hired to play the alien creature, the monster in the movie. But within just a few days, he clashed with the producers and crew members. He complained constantly about the heavy costume being too uncomfortable. He refused to do takes, and then he just stormed off the set. Arnold didn't hide his opinion about what happened. He told his friends later, if he can't handle wearing a rubber suit for a few hours, then he can't handle the movie business at all. The studio fired Van Damme from the movie. The story about him getting fired spread across all of Hollywood. And suddenly the so-called next big thing looked like a liability, meaning someone who causes problems. For years and years after that, Arnold and Van Damme avoided each other completely. Van Damme tried to make peace publicly. He even called Arnold a legend in interviews, trying to give him compliments. Arnold's answer? Just a polite nod of his head. Nothing more. No words. During a T2 press event, that's the sequel to Terminator, when a reporter asked Arnold about the new wave of action stars coming up, Arnold made a sharp comment. He said, "Some guys look great doing backflips and fancy moves, but they don't last long in this business." Everyone in the room knew exactly who he meant. He meant Van Damme, and that comment ended any chance of their relationship getting better that day. Steven Seagal, the tough guy who picked the wrong fight. Let's be completely honest here. The 5th name on Arnold's hate list isn't a surprise to anyone who's actually worked in Hollywood. Steven Seagal had a reputation that everyone knew about. His ego, his pride, and thinking he's better than everyone always came first. His actual talent came second. Everyone knew he rubbed people the wrong way and annoyed them. But when he started mocking and making fun of Arnold, he crossed a line. And it was a line that even Seagal, with all his karate kicks, couldn't kick his way out of in the early 1990s. Seagal was fresh off making hit movies like Under Siege and Marked for Death. He walked around strutting, walking in a proud, show-off way and calling himself the only real martial artist in Hollywood. Reporters loved writing down this soundbite because it made good headlines. But other stars didn't love it at all. When a journalist asked Seagal if he respected Arnold's work, Seagal just smirked in an insulting way. He said, He's just a weightlifter who got lucky. Mean comment made its way straight to Arnold's camp, the people around. Arnold told him what Seagal said. According to crew members who worked with both men at different times, Arnold didn't explode with anger. He didn't yell or make a scene. He just smiled calmly and said, "Real power doesn't need to talk about itself." Everyone who heard that knew it was a shot fired back at Seagal. It was Arnold's way of saying, Seagal talks too much. Things got even worse when Seagal started bragging on TV that he could beat most action stars in a real fight. Sylvester Stallone later revealed and told people that Arnold and other actors privately laughed behind closed doors at Seagal's bravado, his overconfident bragging, but the joke ended and got serious when Seagal crashed to Beverly Hills. Charity event, where Arnold was the guest of honor, meaning Arnold was the special, important guest. Witnesses who were there say Arnold spotted Seagal in the room. He leaned over to the event organizer and quietly requested that Seagal's table be moved far away from him. He didn't want to be near Seagal. Seagal tried to save face, meaning he tried to not look embarrassed by telling people that he and Arnold had mutual respect for each other. But Arnold never responded to that claim. He said nothing. Years later, when someone asked Arnold again about Seagal, Arnold gave the same cool, calm line. He said, "He's made a lot of movies. That's all I'll say. You know what the meaning behind that is. It means Arnold thinks Seagal's movies are nothing special. You don't argue with arrogance and big egos. You just erase them. You ignore them." Seagal became a warning to other actors. Talk too much, brag too much, and you'll just disappear from the important circles. Nobody will care about you anymore. Tom Hardy, the intensity Arnold couldn't stand. And finally, in sixth place, we have the most unexpected name of all on this list. Tom Hardy. There were no scandals between them. No public insults in the news. Yet somehow this quiet storm of an actor managed to rub Arnold the wrong way faster than any of the other people on this list. How did it happen? It all came down to energy, the vibe, and feeling Tom Hardy gave off. When the two first met at an industry event in London around 2014, Hardy was already well known for his raw, unpredictable presence. The way he acted was intense and hard to predict. He walked into a room like a grenade, meaning like something explosive and dangerous. Arnold respected confidence in people. He liked when actors were confident. But Hardy's vibe wasn't just confidence. It felt like confrontation. It felt like he was always ready to challenge someone or pick a fight. A journalist who was present at that event that night said, "You could actually feel the air shift and change when Arnold and Hardy shook hands. The energy in the room got tense and weird." Months later, both actors were approached and asked about being in a military-themed action project together. Hardy was in line to get the lead role, the main character. Arnold was being offered a mentor-type supporting role, like a wise older character who helps the young hero. Insiders who knew what was happening say Arnold declined. He said no after just one meeting about the project. Arnold reportedly told one of the producers, "2 generals in one room. That doesn't work." That was his polite way of saying that Hardy's attitude was way too much for him. He was saying they were both too alpha, too dominant, and they'd clash. Things didn't get any better at later events when they saw each other again. During a joint interview, where they were both promoting a fitness campaign together, Hardy dismissed a question about bodybuilding with a laugh. He said, "That's not acting, that's just posing." He was insulting bodybuilders and basically insulting what Arnold built his career on. The cameras caught Arnold's expression, his face. It tightened up for half a second before he turned away. He was clearly bothered. After that moment, Arnold and Hardy were never seen standing side by side again. They avoided each other. So which one shocked you the most? Did you expect any of these names to be on Arnold's list? Let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next Hollywood secret we reveal.